What if I told you that the future of Africa's food security, political stability, and economic power is being quietly written in the dusty fields of a small South African town? Welcome to Nampo Harvest Day 2025, the largest agricultural show in the Southern Hemisphere and one of the most powerful mirrors of South Africa's soul. This isn't just a farm expo. It's where tractors meet transformation, where drones fly over centuries of history, and where the land speaks louder than words. But before we dive into the jaw-dropping technology, cutting-edge innovations, and sheer scale of Nampo, we need to take a step back. Because to truly understand why this event matters, why it attracts tens of thousands every year and echoes far beyond Bothaville, we must understand the land it grows from, both literally and figuratively. South Africa isn't just a country, it's a continent in miniature. With its sweeping farmlands, extreme contrasts, and a history both painful and powerful, this nation stands at a crossroads. Its agriculture feeds millions, but its soil carries the weight of colonization, apartheid, inequality, and enduring hope. From the dispossession of native people to the dreams of a post-apartheid future, from fierce debates over land reform to the resilience of farmers facing drought, debt, and division, Nampo represents much more than machinery. It's a symbol of survival, innovation, and identity. So buckle up, because what we're about to explore isn't just an event, it's a living story of struggle, progress, and potential. If deep, untold stories like this excite you, smash that subscribe button and be part of a community that goes beyond the headlines. How did we get here? A brief history of South Africa. To understand South Africa today, we must look at how Europeans arrived in a land already inhabited by complex indigenous societies. Dutch settlers from the Netherlands, later known as the Afrikaners or Boers, landed in 1652 at the Cape of Good Hope, establishing a resupply post for ships of the Dutch East India Company. This initial foothold slowly expanded into land occupation, often at the expense of native Khoisan and Bantu-speaking peoples. Over time, more European powers joined in. The British arrived in the 1800s, igniting conflict with the Afrikaners and displacing black communities from their ancestral lands. By the early 20th century, a union was formed, the Union of South Africa, ruled by white minority governments that entrenched segregationist policies. In 1948, apartheid, a formal system of racial segregation, was codified, restricting non-white South Africans' movements, jobs, education, and basic human rights. This system lasted until the early 1990s when, after intense domestic resistance and global pressure, apartheid collapsed. The release of Nelson Mandela from prison in 1990 and the democratic elections of 1994 marked a new era. Mandela became the first black president of South Africa, promising a rainbow nation, a vision of unity among diverse ethnic and racial groups. South Africa is called the Rainbow Nation because it is home to a rich mix of cultures, languages, and ethnic backgrounds. This term symbolizes the country's peaceful transition from apartheid to a multicultural democracy. Despite the transition, apartheid's shadows linger. Most of the country's wealth and land remain in white hands. Today, over 70% of agricultural land is still owned by white South Africans, a group that makes up less than 8% of the population. This disparity remains a deeply divisive issue and lies at the heart of ongoing debates around land reform, the political landscape, and land reform struggles. Post-apartheid South Africa has been governed by the African National Congress, ANC, which has formed coalitions with other parties to maintain political dominance. While the ANC led the liberation movement, its leadership has struggled in recent years with issues like corruption, service delivery failures, and economic mismanagement. one of the most contentious issues is land reform. The South African Constitution allows for land expropriation without compensation, a move that aims to reverse colonial land grabs. However, implementation has been slow and controversial, and there's intense opposition, both within and outside the country. South Africa's geography, economy, and agricultural backbone South Africa spans approximately 1.22 million square kilometers, making it the 25th largest country in the world. It boasts stunning geographic diversity, from arid deserts to lush highlands, fertile valleys, and long coastlines. Its economy ranks among Africa's strongest, with a GDP of around $400 billion in 2025. Agriculture plays a crucial role in this economy. While it only contributes about 2.5% to GDP directly, its influence is far greater when you consider food security, rural employment, and exports. South Africa's maize, citrus, wine, wool, and livestock exports feed not just the nation, but many parts of the continent and even Western countries. The country is home to 4 major cities: Pretoria, administrative capital; Johannesburg, economic hub; Cape Town, legislative capital and tourist magnet; and Durban, Africa's busiest port. These cities drive the national economy, but rural South Africa, where most farming occurs, is just as important. Demographically, South Africa remains one of the most multicultural nations in the world. With over 60 million people, it is majority Black, around 80%, with significant white, colored, mixed race, and Indian communities. Yet, it also has one of the highest inequality levels globally, a legacy of apartheid that still defines access to land, capital, and opportunity. Introducing the Nampo Harvest Day, a giant in African agriculture. Against this complex backdrop, the Nampo Harvest Day shines like a beacon of progress and unity. Held annually near Bothaville in the Free State Province, the 57th Nampo Harvest Day took place from May 13th to 16, 2025, and once again demonstrated why it's the largest private agricultural exhibition in the Southern Hemisphere. Organized by Grain SA, Nampo 2025 welcomed a record-breaking 87,191 visitors and over 900 exhibitors. Themed Global Agriculture Locally. This year's event focused on how South African farmers can tap into global innovations to solve local challenges, from drought to export logistics and precision farming. Nampo is more than just a trade fair. It is a massive field event with live demonstrations of state-of-the-art tractors, planters, harvesters, and 4x4 vehicles. At its core, Nampo is a celebration of those who feed South Africa and much of Africa. It's a marketplace, a university, and a family festival, all rolled into one. Love stories that connect people, place, and purpose? Click subscribe and keep learning with us. Economic impact of Nampo and agricultural resilience in South Africa. The Nampo Harvest Day is not just an agricultural expo, it's an economic engine. In 2025, the event injected millions of rand into the local Free State economy. Hotels, transport businesses, food vendors, and artisans all benefited. According to estimates, Nampo contributed over R160 million directly and indirectly to regional GDP during the 4-day event. What makes this remarkable is that it comes at a time when South African agriculture is grappling with several challenges. The El Niño weather pattern has led to lower rainfall, especially in the maize-producing Free State region. Invasive pests and increasing input costs have also put farmers under strain. But through innovation and sheer determination, many are adapting, shifting to drought-resistant crops, implementing no-till farming, and using tech to optimize water and nutrient use. Small-scale and emerging Black farmers were given special attention at Nampo 2025. Grain SA hosted training workshops, mentorship booths, and market access forums to help bridge the gap between commercial and subsistence agriculture. Though historically marginalized, these farmers represent the future of land reform and food security in South Africa. The cultural and social dimensions of Nampo. Beyond economics and machinery, Nampo has become a social and cultural melting pot. While it has historically attracted a largely white, Afrikaans-speaking farming community, its reach is expanding. Every year, more Black farmers, students, and agripreneurs participate, often inspired by Nampo's inclusive education programs. The event reflects a broader South African reality, a nation trying to reconcile its painful past with a shared future. At Nampo 2025, multilingual signs welcomed visitors in English, Afrikaans, Zulu, and Sesotho. Traditional music and food stalls celebrated rural diversity, and conversations over biltong and boerewors coexisted with serious policy debates on equity and empowerment. For rural families, Nampo is also a holiday. Children explore tractors twice their size, while parents network and dream. Local artists perform. Churches bless the harvest season, and communities reconnect. There's a spiritual undertone, a sense that farming is sacred, not just economic. This human element is critical. In an age of polarization and automation, Nampo reminds us that agriculture is still about people. Their stories, sweat, innovations, and hopes. And in South Africa, hope is always laced with memory. Controversies and complexities. Behind the scenes, despite its success, Nampo isn't without controversy. Critics argued that the event doesn't go far enough to include historically disadvantaged farmers. Some believe the slow pace of transformation in agriculture is mirrored in the demographics of Nampo itself. Still largely white, still heavily commercial. Others point to the symbolism. Nampo is held in a conservative province where land reform is fiercely opposed by many white farmers. While the event provides an open platform, some argue that structural imbalances in the farming sector continue to be normalized rather than challenged. There is also debate over agribusiness monopolies. South African farmers often rely on a handful of global companies for seed, fertilizer, and machinery. This raises concerns about dependency, pricing, and the future autonomy of local farming systems. At Nampo, critics say, small voices can get drowned out by corporate advertising and foreign dominance. Still, even dissenting voices admit Nampo is evolving. It is no longer just a space to sell equipment, it's a space to ask hard questions about land, climate, fairness, and the very future of food in Africa. What the future holds, will Nampo reflect a transformed South Africa? As we look to the future, the question remains, can Nampo become the symbol of an inclusive, prosperous, and equitable South African agricultural sector? The signs are promising. Grain SA has made major efforts to support Black farmers, improve youth access, and challenge industry gatekeeping. Tech adoption is growing across race and class lines. There's an expanding coalition of farmers, young and old, Black and white, who understand that their futures are interlinked. Still, land redistribution remains a sticking point. Without meaningful progress on land equity, any agricultural development risks being hollow. Thank you for joining us on this journey through land, politics, power, and potential. If this video brought you insight, we invite you to leave a comment below. What are your thoughts on South Africa's path forward? Can events like Nampo drive real change? We'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We've got more deep dives coming your way. Stories that don't just inform, but inspire. Until next time, stay grounded, stay curious, and stay hopeful. Thank you for watching. Until next time, this has been KIMLUD Media.